that looks good. I'll just keep stacking them and keep stacking them. And before you know it, you got a whole fish fort built here. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and it's a gray, cloudy, drizzly winter day in Oklahoma. It's not too bad. We do have some bad weather coming. They're predicting some snow and ice and things over the next few days. But as promised, last week I said I was going to try my best to spend as much time as I could this week working on the pond, working on my end of the pond project. And so this morning I had to make a trip over to a buddy's house and pick up the skid steer, where I went and loaded a bunch of concrete. And I need to get it unloaded, get it fueled up, greased up, and ready to go to work. Now, pond builders are here. I have not gone over and talked to them this morning yet, but I can hear him working. I think most of the dam is complete, at least the front side and the elevation. Now, there's still some shaping in the back and all that stuff. Still a lot of other work to do, but for the most part, the bottom of the contour of the pond is fairly close to being done. There's still some cleanup, and then the back side of the dam. But he said I could start doing my part and kind of work around their areas that they need to fix and finish and stuff. So I'm gonna get this thing unloaded, fueled up, and get to work, I guess. Forks didn't want to fall out. Well, as I said, the front of the dam is pretty well complete. He's doing some cleanup over there. He had to take some trees out. We talked about it the other day. He's taking a few trees out so he can get a little extra topsoil. We need some basically some fill dirt, some topsoil fill to clean up the back of the dam, to get the slope right back here so we can keep it mowed and things. So he's taking out a few trees here and there and just trying to get him some topsoil. But aside from that, the main body of the pond is done. The dam is all sloped and cleaned up and everything. He's still got to level out the top. We're basically, from here down is complete. The road across the top, and then obviously the backside he's still working on. But the good thing is he can do all of that while I'm messing around in here. And they dug up a bunch of rocks. There's a big rock pile over there. I'm going to collect all those up and use them. And then there's also some rocks right there that they just kind of left. I'm gonna probably put those up on that island or something. We'll figure it out. But so I'm gonna move a few rocks and things around with the skid steer, but I'll probably end up going and picking up the grapple in a few minutes and going and getting some of these trees. There's logs just laying everywhere, and I need to get the trees and the logs and things kind of in place where I want them before I start moving those big slabs of concrete. Because what I want to do, the plan is get those logs laid in there and pile a couple big pieces of concrete slab on top of them, so that when it does rain, the tree doesn't float away. You here to supervise, Kelsey? Just couldn't stay at the house, could you? You just couldn't do it, huh? Couldn't do it. sucker, right? I ain't out here to play in the mud, but I don't mind a little rain. But it's going to get muddy and slick quick if it keeps raining. But I got a pretty good little bass heaven going. Well, it came a pretty good shower for a few minutes and it's kind of let up, but looking at the radar, I think we're going to get a little bit more rain, and I need to get to the house and do some chores this evening. But this is going to be cool. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I'm going to have to come up with a name for this little crazy mess of a brush pile, something or other, bass heaven. It got big on me really quick. I was just going to put a couple logs up there, and then I thought, man, that looks good. I'll just keep stacking them and keep stacking them. And before you know it, you got a whole fish fort built here. And size perspective's hard to get on camera, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of just how much dirt they've taken out. So I've told you and showed you these islands that they left out here where those stumps and trees and stuff were. But standing next to it, it's hard to get a perspective. But that skid steer to the top of the cab's probably a little over 7 feet, something like that. And it kind of looks small compared to these little underwater islands that we've left. And there's multiple of them. And the way he cut this, he brought the excavator in here and, you know, kind of cut trenches. And so that's about an 8 foot tall, well, maybe, depends on how deep it is in the water right there, but 7-8 feet tall. I mean, this, golly, it's just so stinking cool. And seeing that skid steer next to those things kind of gives you a perspective of what they really look like. But I think I'm gonna brave the mud and hop up here and get a little higher vantage point. Oh, it's muddy, kind of give you guys an idea. Probably should bring the drone out and fly over and look at this stuff, but man, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the part of the process that I've been so excited about and wanting to just figure all of this out. I mean, yes, when we're fishing in here, we're going to lose lures on these logs. There's no doubt. But bass are going to live here. That's just a fact. They're going to suspend in and around these logs, get up in those holes. Just, man, I can't wait to fish it. So that's just one idea that I've had, and I don't want to continue all the way around it because I need a road access for now. So I may add some more after we get a little farther along. I don't want to block myself out of the back of the pond right now, but that's going to be cool. Need to come up with a cool name like, I don't know, Bass Island, or I don't know, something silly. But that's not all I've been doing. You guys saw I did lay a lot of other trees in and along these ledges. So the water line obviously is going to be on up there. And right now where I'm standing, the water should be 8-9 feet deep, something like that. But I had him cut these ledges. It's just like a small cliff underwater, and then I'm stacking these logs in here so that, you know, you can fish. It's going to be hard to fish from the bank, don't get me wrong. You can fish above them, but when you're in here in a boat, be able to fish in and around all these logs, man, that's just going to be, it's going to be killer. So that's just one little ledge there. And then this other ledge, I mean, I've got 6 or 8 trees kind of stacked in here, and that'll kind of help hold that bank in place underwater. I mean, not that I'm too worried about how that cliff holds up, but man, I think it'll be some killer fishing. So a lot left to do. Look at that. You can't even see my skid steer. The thing is hiding down there. Look at that. Anyway, still a lot left to do, but little projects like that, a little at a time, man, it's going to make for some amazing fishing. And I haven't even started moving the concrete and rock and rubble and gravel and all that stuff yet. This is day one, step one for me, and feels really good. I like it. So I'm going to pick back up in the morning. I got to go to the house and do some chores before the rest of the storms get here. Hoping it doesn't rain very much. If we can keep it to like a ½ inch of rain overnight, I should still be able to at least move concrete back and forth and get it close and all that. And hopefully we don't get enough rain that we have to pump it out again. That's cool, guys. I just can't get over how stinking awesome that looks, and how much structure that is with just trees that we pushed down to build the pond. Well, it's the next morning, and it did rain. I don't know how much it rained, but it's a muddy mess out here. I don't think it rained a lot. I'm thinking probably ½ to 3/4 of an inch of rain, something like that. I just don't know that I'm going to be able to get much work done at the pond. Cody did come by, check things out this morning, and he's not working. I don't know if it may be too muddy to really do much with the skid steer. It's not going to get stuck. I just think I'll end up making a mess, and I don't want to do that. I would rather do things the right way and just be patient. The pond did not catch much water, so that tells me we didn't get much rain. But every 10 feet into this, like I'm that far from the buggy, and you can see like the mud's a sticky, goopy mess. So I don't think I'll be finishing any projects that I had planned for the day. And it got cold, by the way. I think it's going to get even colder. There's kind of predicting some winter weather, snow, ice mix, possibly. Hopefully we don't get much more rain. Really, down here in the bottom of the pond, it's not too bad. It's slippery. That's the thing. It's all clay. So if I get in here with the skid steer, it's just going to take a few minutes to get the tracks completely coated in clay and then just turn into a slippery, slip and slidey mess. And that sounds like a horrible idea on uneven ground. So I guess going against what I want to do, I probably won't be firing the skid steer up today. But good thing is we did not catch any runoff. I'm thankful for that. No pumping out the pond today. Just didn't get to finish what I was wanting to do. You know, it's like, I feel like a little kid. I was so close, so stinking close to having a complete finished pond. Like a little kid having a brand new toy. It's just over there on the shelf, and I can't get to it yet. But I will say, this is going to be awesome, guys. This is going to be incredible. I got to do a little bit yesterday with my unnamed weird structure pile over there. But it felt good. Like it seems weird to say that, doesn't it? It felt good to actually get out here and be a little bit productive, because pretty much through the whole pond build, I've just been watching. I mean, I've done a few things here and there, but this is so far over my head, over my level of expertise. It was a good idea just to sit back and let the professionals handle it. And he's handling it well. They're doing a good job. It's just so close to being done. So he did come by this morning, look everything over, and had to write another check. Basically, when we built the pond, it was, we set it up into like 3 or 4 payments or something, but he needed a check because he was going to go buy all the pipe and everything he needs to put the spillway pipe in. Basically, I know it sounds backwards. There's so many different ways you can do a spillway pipe. The pond, our old pond at Mill Creek, has a very old spillway pipe, but it's completely vertical and goes down 10 or 12 feet to a 90 and then goes under the dam. Well, that's not what we're going to do here. Basically, he's going to buy, it's going to be poly pipe. It's not going to be like corrugated culvert pipe like it was at Mill Creek. But probably, I think he said 24-inch spillway pipe. And he's basically going to cut a trench through the top of the dam at an angle, you know, so it'll stick up wherever we need the water level here, and then go down through the dam and pop out down the backside where there is a little bit of a, you know, a spillway creek back there. And that's the style of spillway pipe that we're going to put in here. We will have an emergency overflow spillway in case that does get clogged up with trees and leaves and debris. Obviously, we're going to have debris or beaver problems or whatever it is. We want a backup spillway. So that will be probably on this end of the dam. I'm not sure exactly yet. But he still has some work to do on the dam. It's not completely done. The front side, the front slope is finished. The face of it's pretty well done. He does need to level out the top, move a little bit more dirt, and, you know, flatten the top, make us a good road. And then still, there's a lot more work on the backside. Speaking of the backside, let me show you. One thing he did determine yesterday, if you can't tell, it's getting easier and easier to see the barn and the animals. I know folks are confused as to the location of this pond. But right now, I mean, you can see there's the barn. I am probably less than 200 yards from the pond, standing on the end of the dam. But up until yesterday, there was a lot more timber here, even blocking the view. Plus, the old pond was down lower. So before, you couldn't really see the barn very well, especially in the summertime when there was leaves. But anyways, he needed more fill dirt to work on the back side of the dam. So we came in here yesterday. There was kind of a tall knoll, not really a hill, but just a high spot, a hump here. And he took out a few trees. We really only lost like one or two decent oak trees. Like that one laying right there was pretty much the nicest oak tree. He left several here, you know, so we have shade on the end of the dam. But he needed that fill dirt. And I said, well, you know, by the time you get this built up and stuff, heck, who knows, the road may make more sense to come over here. Because he is putting in a somewhat of a boat ramp for me. And I may line it with those concrete slabs that I've got. But you can kind of see it slopes up right there and up over here towards the dam. But we're going to put a boat ramp in right here so I can come across the dam, drive straight, pull forward, and back in. Or if I come from this direction with a, you know, side by side in a small boat or pick up in a small boat, I can pull in, and we should have plenty of room up here to turn around, go around the trees and pull up and then just back straight into the pond, because 4.5 acres is a lot of water. And I say 4.5, I don't know that for certain. Should be at least 4. But a lot of folks are like, hey, that's not a pond anymore, that's a lake. And I don't really completely disagree. I don't know that there's really a hard line that says this is a lake and this is a pond. But I've been debating on names. And I'm horrible about this. I'm horrible about naming things. Everybody else has names for all their stuff, you know. And I've been debating on, what are we going to call this lake, pond, you know? And the one thing that keeps sticking in my head, we live on a creek. You guys have seen the creek 1,000 times. The creek runs just a couple hundred yards past the pond, just a little bit too far to pump water from the creek to the pond. Not doing that. But it's called Buckhorn Creek. So I've been debating on, I'd like to tie the Buckhorn name into the pond. So I don't know if I just call it Buckhorn Lake, Buckhorn Pond, Buckhorn something. I don't know. That's the name that keeps popping in my head. I don't know what else to name it. There's been 1,000 different suggestions. So maybe leave 1,000 more in the comment section and I'll browse through them and see if anybody has anything. I don't want to call it like Houston's Lake or Lake Houston, or, you know, even though he's probably the primary fisherman that's going to fish in here. I don't want it to just be about one of my kids, or just about, a lot of folks have suggested something about like my dad's name, my dad's legacy, because he built the original pond and this was his piece of property, and without his ideas and plans, this would have never happened. So folks were like, well, what's your dad's name? You could name it after your dad. And I'm like, well, his name was Philip Arms, but I don't know how you tie that into anything. So I'm not against it, but I don't know what that looks like. And Houston's middle name's Philip, so kind of puts it back to him, and I don't want to do that. So I don't know. Suggestions? Something to do with Buckhorn? And they just call it the Buckhorn Lake. We may just call it our pond, kind of like the merch building. That's what we call the merch building. And the lake house doesn't have a name. It's just the lake house. We're thinking about it. We're thinking of names. Hadn't figured that one out either. The merch building is just the merch building. Dusty, my brother-in-law, bought that piece of property and had a big barn on it, and a big red barn, and they've converted it, and it's got a kitchen, and they're, you know, they can basically full-time live in their barn now. But that whole piece of property, he calls the Ponderosa, and it fits. It's cool. It's a cool name. I don't have any catchy cool names. Like, this is at home. We hunt here at home. We hunt at Mill Creek. The Mill Creek property is just the Mill Creek property because that's the closest town. I suck at this game. So I need some cool names. What do we call the merch building? What do we call the lake house? What do we call the pond? I don't know. Guys, suggestions in the comment section. Much appreciated. Anyways, do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know. It just might change the world. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.